by settling into a comfortable position, allowing your body to find support and ease, whether seated on a cushion, in a chair, or lying down, letting the spine lengthen naturally and the muscles release unnecessary tension. Rest your hands softly, either on your lap or by your sides, and notice the points of contact between your body and the surface beneath you, feeling the quiet support that holds you effortlessly. Close your eyes gently if that feels comfortable, and turn your attention inward, away from external distractions and the activity of the outer world. Begin by noticing the breath, observing its natural rhythm, the rise and fall of the chest, the gentle expansion and contraction of the abdomen, without attempting to control or change it. Allow the breath to anchor you in the present moment, creating a calm and receptive space, a foundation for observing mental activity. As you settle, begin to notice thoughts as they arise, recognizing them as events in consciousness, appearing and disappearing naturally, like clouds drifting across the sky. Do not follow, analyze, or judge them. Simply observe their presence, noticing the flow of mental content without becoming attached. Now bring attention to the subtle question that will guide today's practice. Ask silently, softly, to whom do these thoughts occur? Allow this inquiry to arise gently, not as an intellectual puzzle, but as a pointer directing attention from the content of the mind to the silent awareness that witnesses all mental events. Notice how this question naturally draws attention inward, away from identification with the thoughts themselves, inviting awareness to rest in the observing presence that is ever present, unchanging, and spacious. As thoughts arise, notice their impermanence, their movement, and their tendency to provoke identification or attachment, and gently redirect attention to the witness, the awareness in which all thoughts occur. Observe the distinction between the thoughts themselves and the silent presence that perceives them, recognizing that the true self is not the stream of mental activity, but the awareness in which it arises. Allow this awareness to expand, feeling its vastness, its openness, its capacity to hold all mental content effortlessly without disturbance. Sense the freedom that emerges when identification with thoughts softens, when the habitual tendency to claim them as mine or define oneself through them dissolves. Bring attention to bodily sensations, the subtle shifts in energy, and the rhythm of the breath, noticing how they coexist with thoughts and how awareness can rest calmly and neutrally behind all phenomena. Each time a thought arises, mentally ask again, to whom does this thought occur? Notice that the answer is always the witnessing awareness itself, the silent observer that is not affected by the content of thought. Sense how this practice gradually dissolves the sense of personal ownership over mental activity, cultivating detachment and clarity. Observe subtle emotions that may accompany thoughts, noticing their arising and passing, and recognize that they too occur in awareness, not separate from it, not defining it, not limiting it. Allow attention to rest in the spaciousness behind all mental and emotional activity, noticing that the observer remains unaffected, serene, and steady, even as thoughts and feelings move continuously. If the mind begins to resist or becomes restless, observe the resistance itself as another phenomenon arising in awareness, and gently return to the question, resting attention in the silent presence that witnesses it. Sense the lightness, the clarity, and the freedom that arise when awareness is allowed to observe without grasping or identifying. Noticing the ease and peace that permeate both mind and body. Let the inquiry deepen subtly, noticing not only individual thoughts, but the continuous flow of mental events, the habitual patterns, and the subtle narratives that arise. Observe them without engagement, letting them drift naturally, always returning attention to the witness behind them. Sense that awareness itself is steady, unchanging, luminous, and spacious, accommodating the totality of experience without disturbance or effort. Notice how identification with thoughts, emotions, and subtle mental patterns gradually softens, revealing the underlying clarity and presence that is your true nature. With each cycle of observation, each gentle return to the question, to whom do these thoughts occur? Feel a deepening of insight, a strengthening of detachment, and a recognition that awareness itself is the ever-present ground of consciousness. Allow attention to expand, including subtle sensations, bodily awareness, and the rhythm of the breath, integrating the practice into a holistic experience of presence, clarity, and equanimity. Observe that the witness is not limited, not constrained by the flow of thought or the content of consciousness. It remains open, vast, and unaffected, capable of holding all phenomena effortlessly. Sense the profound simplicity of resting as awareness, letting thoughts arise and dissolve naturally, letting emotions move through consciousness without interference, and noticing the deep peace that accompanies detachment from identification with mental activity. Allow a subtle sense of joy or lightness to arise as you recognize the freedom inherent in this witnessing awareness, the effortless clarity and spaciousness that is always present when thoughts are not clung to. When the mind is observed rather than engaged, let attention remain soft, receptive, and alert, moving gently through mental and emotional phenomena without fixation, simply resting in the unchanging presence behind all experience. Notice the subtle shifts that occur in the mind as identification softens, as habitual reactions diminish, and as awareness strengthens, providing a continuous sense of calm, clarity, and groundedness. With each moment, cultivate a deep trust in the witness, in the silent presence that is always here, steady, vast, and luminous, unshaken by the fluctuations of thought and emotion. As this session draws to a close, gently expand awareness to include the body, the breath, and the space around you, integrating the experience of detached witnessing into the felt sense of the present moment. Know that this capacity to observe thoughts without identification, to rest as the silent awareness behind them, is always available, a resource for calm, clarity, and insight in daily life. Finally, bring gentle movement to the fingers and toes, Allow the eyes to flutter open when ready, and carry this strengthened sense of detachment. This